I'm going to look at each one of your paintings before we start to see where we're at. So I'll start with Deborah, if you don't mind. But just to see where you're at. Okay.
Ooh,
All right,
nice.
that's good.
Nice.
That's
Nice.
good. Um, on your painting, Deb, you're going to have to bring these pine trees together a little bit more so they don't look too separate.
You
Pine
bring it
trees are
down
off
more.
to the left,
Yeah, let's see.
but that's fine.
Oh,
So
I
far,
see
so
what you're
good.
saying. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, Diane, can I see what you did with flattening out the curve? Yeah, much better.
Oh,
Because
thank you.
I'm going to have to flatten out what I've got here too. But
Okay.
I didn't want to overemphasize it. I want it to look more like this
Uh-huh.
than that bump up there.
Yeah.
So that the reason why I'm doing that is that I don't want this being the same as this. So I'm going to flatten this out a little bit more,
Okay.
just so it's different.
Yep.
Okay, good. Judy, can I see yours? That's nice. Okay, you're
Nice.
good. You're going up
Mm-hmm.
a little bit too high on a hill here, which we're
I
gonna,
like it.
yeah, we want to bring that section down.
Okay, so
Because I'm
like
going to
this.
start off, I'm starting off back here. I'm going to come up through here and modify this ridge.
Okay, glad to do
Okay,
it.
but
Yeah.
you're fine. You're good. Everybody's doing well. Janet,
And then I didn't work on it
okay,
anymore.
we're going to have to lessen that too. You've got that
Lesson.
quite wide. We're going to bring that down.
Oh, bring the trees down.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I'm going to do that this time around. So you'll see what I'm
Mhm.
doing to compensate for even I had it a little bit too high. So it's
Okay.
nothing, everybody's got nothing to worry
Yeah.
about. I think you all
No,
did a good job. Uh,
of course.
I know, of course. What should I have expected otherwise?
Really?
But okay, we're going to get started. Same color, same station. Any questions before I start, though?
Nope.
It's the meaning of life. No, just kidding.
And, yeah, sure. Do you want to call a friend? All right. Now the background that I put down, the base of it, way in the background here, I want it closer to this, that it's more of a blue green and not a blue. So we're going to be modifying that first off and then traveling up to the right hand side and then bouncing back. So I'm going to handle all of this up in here in the first phase. So make sure that I got this right here. We're using, like I said, the same colors. I'm going to wet these a little bit. I put out fresh this morning. So I'm going to take the two brushes here that I've been using the most, the 6 round and the Chinese calligraphy. And I'm going to start off by taking the ultramarine blue and the sap green. And what you always have to remember is what you put down initially, whatever it is, and you put something over it. If you make it transparent enough, this will influence what you put on top of it. So I am adding a little bit of green here. Let me take a look at where I was at over here. Whoop. There we go. And I'm going to add a little bit of raw sienna to this, not much. So I'm going to keep my paper towel handy. And I'm going to dry the brush off and I'm going to start dry brushing in. I have to make it a little bit lighter. There we go. And I'm not going to cover everything that I have back there. In other words, I'm leaving small portions of this to show through. And as I come down, I'm going to get it a little bit darker. which signifies the pine trees, that area getting a little bit closer to us. And I'm going to add a little bit more ultramarine blue and some cobalt. And your assumption has to be it's going to dry lighter, which it will. So I'm dry brushing in a little bit of detail here on top so that it has a little bit more of a sawtooth look on the top, signifying the pine trees and so forth. And that's actually pushing that back at this point. I'm going to take my number 6 round, and I'm going to add a little bit with more cobalt down here at the bottom. And I'm going to continue working with this while it's dry or drying, just to give it a little bit of form back there, but not to take over the background, because I'm going to be putting a light pine tree in here later on when I'm using the gouache. But this just gives it a little bit of character in the background. It's not so flat looking. And add a little bit of pure cobalt down here, and then take a little bit of water and just kind of push it along. Pull up a little bit of it, just so it's a little bit more flavorful of color. So I'm going to start at this end here and come back to here because I want this to dry and I don't want any bleeding at this point. So I'm going to take the sap green here with a lot of ultramarine blue, a little bit of burnt sienna. And I want to get that quite dark. So when I start painting, I'm going to dry brush this in. Move my lights in a different direction here. There, now I can see. And I'm going to tip this up a little bit towards me so I can see better. And I'm not going to be covering everything that I did previous, because I'll lose the depth. It will flatten out too much on me. And I'm going to start flattening out the rise up in here a little bit also at the same time. And I may signify a few individual pine trees, but I'll allow them only to be noticed towards the top more so than down at the bottom. And I'm going to take the toothbrush with just the cobalt blue, and I'm going to spritz some of that in there for a little bit of color and go back in and start modifying the bottom of this here, trying to create a little bit of character through here. I don't want to flat line it. I want to show a little bit of character that has a little bit of up and down. Dry the brush off a little bit. Soften the edge a little bit so we don't have anything too harsh. Always keep your edges as soft as you can for as long as you can. A little bit more green, there we go. And I am using the side of the brush a lot up in here. Now I'm going to add more blue to this just a little bit before we get down to the end where we're receiving more light in here. So it's going to get a little bit warmer.
So is that ultramarine blue or cobalt?
That was with a little bit of the cobalt. Now I'm going to take the raw sienna and the sap green here. And when I put this down, the underpainting that I previously did is going to influence this quite a bit. I'm going to take a little bit of dark too at the same time for down at the bottom. But up at the top, up in here, it's going to appear warmer with that raw sienna in with that mixture. So now when I'm coming back and I'm overlapping this is dry enough to where this should stay in place. So it's the timing of the watercolor that I'm always concerned about. It might soften up a little bit, but that's fine. So I'm taking a little bit of raw sienna here, and I'm going to enter that in also. So it's picking up a little bit of the light where this is more in shadow here. I'm going to put a couple saplings in here to break that up. And I can always come back in and delineate that a little bit more, sharpen it up. I'm going to take a little bit of raw sienna or burnt sienna, and I'm going to put that down here and allow that to mix with what I put up on top. Now I'm going to continue finishing this a little bit more. So I'm going to take a little bit of raw sienna, a little bit of burnt sienna, a touch of that cobalt blue there to gray it. Dry the brush off just a little bit. And this still needs to be modified. This not so much over here, but as I come back around later on, I will make this passage much stronger. So I'm adding some pure raw sienna right there. And I'm going to add a little bit of the burnt sienna here and there. So I want this to show a little bit of variance of temperature and color as far as the warmth goes. And then this is all raw sienna up in here. So I've flattened the curve quite a bit. And I'm also going to take, while we're still fairly wet, I'm going to put in a couple of trees right in here, but not quite like that. That one just kind of, there we go. And then I'll take the toothbrush with the burnt sienna on it. And I will hit this area in here to strengthen the warmth of this just a little bit more. And right up into the pine trees up here, a little bit over here. But this is where I'm concerned about. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the cotton pad here, modify the bottom so it doesn't come down that far. I want this to be a little bit lighter, so that we're getting this variety of color going on. And then I'm going to jump across the river here. And I'm going to start here and work back. So I'm going to take the ultramarine blue and this is real dry now, which is good. And I'm taking a little bit more time with this for the fact that I want to sculpt this out a little bit more so it looks a little bit, it'll separate from what's up above it or what's in back of it. And I'm taking the time with the top of the trees here. And as they come in, I'll allow them to kind of mesh together a little bit. We don't need to denote all the form that far back. I'm going to add a little bit of the burnt sienna down here at the bottom, so we keep it on the softer side. And then we're going to go up into this tree up in here, and I'm going to add a little bit of cobalt to that. So it cools down and will fall back a little bit more. And you can see on how this is strengthening the whole painting here. I'm going to add a little bit of warmth up in here, just to move that color around. And we can have dead pine trees. Happens every day. I got a whole woods full of them back here. And then I'm going to go back to the darker value of the green, blue-green. Just a little bit in here. Then I'll take the big brush and I'm going to move that color around because I don't want really anything happening up in here that has any remote form to it. Just sort of drifts away. Got a little bit of ultramarine blue. And then I will take the bigger brush, taking the burnt sienna. And while this is still wet a little bit, I'm going to go ahead. It's not going to compete with this over here, though. So keep that in mind. It's going to be quite a bit grayed down, a little bit more soft looking, a little bit more water. And I just sort of bring it down around some of the rocks in here. I'm going to take a little bit of raw sienna here, straight. It's going to look grayed down for the fact that what I have underneath it. And just kind of run it up into the trees there, and then we'll leave it alone. Then I'm going to take just a little bit of that off, just so there's not too much of a hard edge. And there'll be reconfigurations back here, but not too much. I'm going to take a little bit of cobalt blue and then stop. And I'm going to put it right up in here. A little bit over here. But this will be remodified back in here on this side, not too much on that side. So just to recap, I made this a little bit blue greener. Going to add a little bit more, maybe a little bit more green to it later. It's all debatable at this point. Then I started over here. Then I came back down here. It was still wet, which is fine. Um, and I modified the hill on here, flattened it out so that this doesn't compete with this. And then I came over here and added. Now these are different combinations of the sap green, ultramarine blue, the burnt sienna, a little bit of raw sienna, but it goes back and forth and just mix up darker over here, a little bit darker here, and it kind of filters off to a little bit lighter and less defined. But there'll be another passage through on this side and right in here as we go through this. So keep it simple. I'll give you a couple minutes to do that.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
So the ground on the, under the trees on the ground on the other side, those colors that you just added are,
Raw sienna heavily, burnt sienna lightly in the mixture. And I washed it up into the green pines and so forth. So we have a softer edge up and through here. Does that answer it?
Yep.
Okay. But just by doing this, you can see that the image has gotten a lot stronger. card folder on your desk too.
Huh?
Put the card folder on your desk too.
I don't understand what you said. The card folder?
Plastic.
Oh,
I'm done with this.
okay.
I'm putting the Visa bills on your desk to go through.
Okay.
Oh, you done already, Janet?
Well, this is not going well. I took a wrong turn.
Okay, I was just kidding, by the way. You stood up and I
No,
thought,
I tried painting with you, which was not a good idea. I should have just watched. Cause see what happened there.
that's fine. Take a damp brush or a paper towel and simply pull it up a little bit. You know, just soften the edge, but you're fine. You may not want to show too many distinct pines over here. Maybe these two and then plus this one here, but don't get individual pines going all the way back. Leave something up to the imagination. But the rest of it looks pretty good.
Well, I think for mine, you need a lot of imagination.
All right, you've lost the opening here.
I know.
This is 20 years down the road on your creek, but leave it alone. Don't try to take it up because it's not. You won't be able to take it up and make it look right. So we
Right.
it's going to be a little bit more enclosed. I'm going to put another tree in here anyways.
Okay.
And I'm going to put another tree in here. So it's going to close up a little bit more than what it is, but that's going to be later on.
Right.
Let me see it
Well,
again.
If when I repaint this, I can show the before and after. So like the first painting
Yeah.
and then 20 years later.
Yes, exactly. You can see on how much this closed up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So it's not a problem. You're not bound, of course, by the photograph.
Right.
I did a commission, probably about 10, 12 years ago. And it was out in Wyoming, and it was for this lady's father, and he was on a creek. He had land, and she wanted him in the creek fishing,
Uh-huh.
and he wanted the Labrador retrieve black lab running through the water
Uh-huh.
behind him or in the water. And she gave me a picture of him on the tractor with, I have no idea how tall he is or what he weighs. The dog is sitting behind him. All I can see is the head.
Oh. Oh.
And okay, so I took the liberty, because there was a mountain in the background. I took the liberty of making the trees bigger because the photograph was 20 years old.
Uh-huh. Oh.
And when I gave it to her, she says, "Oh, my father's going to love this because there's no trees there now. They cut them all down because it had the Asian boar in it."
Oh, wow.
So it actually made it better for him to look at.
Oh.
He was so upset when the lumber companies came through, the U.S. government, to get rid of these Asian boar beetles that they invaded.
Yeah.
Killed all the trees.
Oh, yeah. Those invasive species are horrible.
I know, like the humans are terrible.
Dale, here's mine. I had some trouble trying to, reduce the thing
No,
over
you're
here.
fine. I would like to see a little bit of movement up in here.
Yeah,
Not too much. I'm going to be modifying this, but don't
Yeah.
do it now. And the other thing is that soften this whole edge up here.
oh, right there. Okay. Yeah, I didn't have to deal with that at
It's too
all.
hard.
So I'm
And
going to get it.
yeah, and try to make your trees not look like the three apostles by themselves. Allow them to come together.
I mean, so leave 1 and 2 and smudge 3 out
Yeah.
or something.
You
I
see
don't
how
know.
you see the angle of this going up?
Yeah, I do. Okay.
And I allowed the trees to mingle together. So when you're looking at the woods, you're not seeing individual trees because they're overlapping so much. You're seeing the tops of them as individuals, but you're
Yeah.
not seeing the bottoms all the time as individuals.
Right. Okay. Well, I will disguise my trees right now.
Yes. Put a robe on them.
Okay, you want to look again?
Yeah, much better. Much better. We're gonna modify this in the middle back here as we go through it. So I want this to be noted as being quite separate from what's up here.
Right.
So you're getting your darks dark enough. You also did what Diana did is you closed it in a little bit. So you have overgrowth.
Well, you kept going back in. So
Yeah,
I
but
followed
not,
you.
not with trees, but with values. I just kind of, when it was wet, I was streaking it up and down to show the pine trees back there faintly.
But it made it darker.
Yes, it did. But you can make the trees in the foreground darker the next pass. But leave
Right.
it alone now, because that will pull that forward then. You're fine.
Okay. I'm not upset.
Oh.
Don't worry. It's always good.
Yeah. Deborah.
Yeah, I think I did the same thing. I think let's see if I
Hold
can
it.
move back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
move it back. Actually, you're fine, except
Yeah, yours goes back.
right
Yeah.
here, you've got too much light coming through. You
What?
see,
Oh, there.
right in here, you have that
Yeah.
light streak running through there, and it's popping out. So combine the tree from here to here a little bit more. This section,
Okay.
okay? But
You
the
can
rest
see
of
the
it's really
back.
good.
Yeah, you got the back.
Yeah.
Well, I had to lift it because I closed it all the way, practically.
I can't get my canoe through.
So I closed the whole thing. I don't know how that happened. I think it seemed like when I saw you put that tree in, it just seemed like it was closer than it was. So,
Well, you have to remember that watercolor is the only medium that you use that keeps moving and mixing by itself when you put it down. So it's a matter of trying to get control over it sometimes. But it just does what it wants to, and you lose things easily.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's a happy mistake, and other times it's not.
Yeah. So I kind of submerged this tree into the mass.
And
And
I would like to see this right here. You have an opening right here.
so
Make that disappear.
okay, we'll do. And I kind of softened this. I don't know
Yeah.
if
Look how far these come up, Judy.
Yeah.
Right to the
Okay.
top. You're
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You're allowing Martha Stewart to come along and tree trim.
Martha gets in there
Okay.
every week, doesn't she?
We'll
Yeah,
get this.
she's terrible on pruning things.
Okay. Let's see.
Even up here, you see people that manicure their natural growing pine trees to where they're all even heights and so forth. And it just, I live in the woods. Leave it alone unless it's dead, or if you need to get through, you have to trim it. But don't make them look so perfect.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that, Dale. I mean, if you top a tree, it is not going to develop a new lead, you know?
It does.
Now, does it?
Yes, it does.
Okay, well, we got
We
some,
when we go hunting for Christmas trees as a kid,
yeah.
one of us would climb up the tree and top it so that the tree wouldn't die, and then it grows a double crown.
Oh, I see. Yeah, but that's not good. I mean, who wants that?
Well, we cut our own Christmas trees down on our property, which I think Janet's heard this story before,
Probably 10 times.
probably 10 times. But we went hunting for a Christmas tree. My brother and I, my dad and my mom, and my mom would look and scout and says, "I like that top of that tree there." And it was my dad's turn to climb the tree. So you're getting snow down your neck and everything. He gets up there, he cuts the top off, he drops it. My brother and I go get it, and we got it down. We put it up in the snow. My mom says, "I don't like it from this." So we had this is like thigh deep snow that we're going through that Christmas. So we trudged on through the woods, and my mom says that one up there is very nice. I like that one. So my dad's up the tree again and cuts it down, and we're on our way back. And my mom stops and she says, "Stop. How about if we take that little one there?" My dad walks over to it, pulls it out of the snow. He says, "That's the first one we cut."
Oh,
My brother and I laughed all the way back home. My dad wasn't quite as tickled. But yeah, they do. They grow a double crown, and then they'll fill out at the bottom more too.
yeah, but why do you want a double crown for a Christmas tree?
You don't.
Oh, okay.
It's just that we were topping the tree not to kill the entire tree.
Oh, I see. I got you.
Dale, how are
Yes.
you getting that dark green? My green is not coming out
Like
that
this,
dark.
I
Yeah.
use the ultramarine blue, the sap green, more ultramarine blue than sap green, and then I added a little bit of burnt sienna. And the burnt sienna will make it darker and grayed a little bit more. And not a lot of water either, Deborah. And then I took the brush, the Chinese brush on its side, and just kind of wish back and forth and combine them, allow them to kind of mesh together.
Okay, I worked on the left a little bit. Don't ask me why I chose
All right,
that.
that's much better. That's
All
good.
right.
You're probably going to have to tone this down a little bit from what I can see in the monitor. It's a little bit too red orange.
Yeah,
Right, actually, right here, I think you have it. Yeah.
Right.
But leave it alone because I'm still going to modify this.
okay.
There's still things we have to do to it. I'd rather have you use more color than not enough
Mm.
because it's easier to pull you back than to push you forward.
Mhm.
Okay. Here's,
All right, that's good, Judy.
I kind of pulled this together a little bit over here.
Yeah, and just
Actually,
take a damp brush or a paper towel that's damp and soften that whole ridge.
right there. Okay.
That it is not as sharp looking. Only sharpen things up towards the end when you need to. I mean, even along through here, has no sharp edges to it.
Yeah, it's kind of wet from the.
Yeah. And
Should I
try to
do
blend it
now?
up into what was there.
Do it now? Okay. I
Yeah,
was
do it
afraid.
right now. So you get rid of that sharp edge. Because
Okay.
you're not, even on the finished one here, or that study I did,
Uh-huh.
that edge is not sharp. It's still soft.
Yeah.
So
I'm
you
just
can,
afraid of bringing all that green down into the,
you're not bringing, let's say you're bringing this up into there instead of bringing this down into there.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm
Push
just
it up.
afraid of making a mess.
Right. Don't
Yeah.
make a mess.
I do make a mess. It's my natural thing.
Well, I did a lot of that in the early years, a lot of messes. Okay, I'm going to take a picture of this. are we ready to start again then? We okay? with-
Yeah.
Yep.
Janet, we good?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't want to run ahead on anybody. Okay, now, what we're going to do next, you have two choices when you go back into something like that. You can work with the rocks or you can work with the river. I think I'm going to work with the rocks, and we have to be careful with that because we don't want all the same size rocks. This is, I think, a mistake I made on this one. They're too much the same size. So I have big ones and little ones and medium-sized ones. So it's going to be a block in. I'm not copying the rocks that are there because they're highlighted beyond belief. They just too much sparkling going on. So I am going to start off with the burnt sienna and a little bit of the cobalt blue and getting kind of a rusty blue-brown looking mixture. And I'm going to start by blocking in. I'm going to use two brushes again. I haven't used a lot of brushes in this painting. I've used two brushes through the whole painting, actually. And I'm going to allow these rocks to merge together. I'll separate them later. And there'll be different colors, different values. There'll be little separations in between, such as what you're seeing right here. I don't want them to be put in individually at this point too much. I'm kind of allowing them to be washed together a little bit less than what I did originally, but they're still going to be connected to a great extent. I'm adding a little bit more burnt sienna out here on these rocks, allowing it to flow back. And I keep on tapping off the brush. Because I want the rocks to relate back to the rest of the landscape in this case. And I'm handling some rocks very simply, other rocks a little bit more strongly, because I don't want them to be all in the same focus. I'm going to add a little bit of ultramarine blue here with the burnt sienna. Some will be fuzzy looking, some will be a little bit harder looking. And we'll separate and combine and do what we have to a little bit later. We'll take a little bit of the cobalt blue with the burnt sienna again. And I'm being conscious of these rocks are going to be different sizes, different shapes. Still combining a lot of these smaller ones here. Because if you over paint them, they're going to look wrong. Now, I'm going to cross the river here. And I'm going to take a little bit of ultramarine blue. And in the river back here, we have some other rocks that are going to traverse across the river. And they're going to be on the lighter side. These are going to dry much lighter than what I'm putting them down. And I am looking at where these rocks are and seeing if I'm going to place them exactly in the same place. And that helps break up the background. And this one might be a little bit too dark, so I'll soften it a bit. Then I'm going to come right over to the other side here and put in some rocks that are on the bank and in the river. And I'm going to take the toothbrush with a little bit of this warm color over here, and I'm going to give this a little bit of texture over in here. Both the cobalt and the raw sienna grade down, both of them. Then I'm going to go back down the river on this side, mix up a new batch of color with ultramarine blue, a little bit of burnt sienna, because I feel the rocks in the photograph really detach themselves from the rest of the photograph because of there's too much contrast on them. They don't go with the landscape. We lose somebody?
No, I'm back.
Oh, did you go out for breakfast?
No, you were gone. My screen was blank. I was like, and I could hear you, and then you came back for a second, and then all was lost. So now you have to start all over again.
Nice try.
Darn.
Now, I've laid the rocks in approximately where they're supposed to be. No great detail. I am going to take these cotton things here that I got, and I am going to pull up a little bit of light in here. And I'm going to pull up a little bit more light in here. And I'm going to kind of allow the rocks to kind of smudge into the bank right here. And I'm also going to enhance the reflection at the same time here in the water from up here. Not a lot, just a little. Just to start with. And
What colors?
that was the raw sienna. Nothing, it's just a kind of a, I took the pure raw sienna, watered it down, dragged a little bit of the cobalt blue into it here.
Mm-hmm.
And I just sort of allowed it, it turned a little bit green back there, which is fine. And I'm going to bring it right across the river here just a little bit to make sure that river lays down. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the toothbrush just with water on it, paper towel, and I am going to spritz some water up in here, a little bit here, a little bit there. And I'm going to lift a little bit of this out. We need a little bit of texture up in here. You might not be able to see it, but I will put this up on the water jug when I finish here. And the last thing I'm doing for this part is I'm going to take the tree bases here that I put in coming out of the bottom, and I'm going to lift up, not heavily, because I don't want these to show up too much. This will help break this area up back there a little bit for the time being. Let me put this up on the pedestal here so you can see it closer. So what I initially did was I put these rocks in. They're all a little bit cooler in here, a little bit warmer out here. I did kind of a combination here. I did not allow these rocks to be too dominant. There'll be a couple dominant in here when I'm done. But these won't be dominant. The ones down the stream, not hardly at all. And then we're going to work up this area a little bit more, of course. But I've lifted this up in here to create a little bit of texture. Because remember, we're going in with the white gouache, and we're going to be painting translucently and opaque, which I'll re-explain what that is. And I'll be putting in trees back in here that are warmer. And I'm going to modify this a little bit more, modify that a little bit more. But we're going around in circles at this time constantly so that we're working the whole composition at once. You don't want to isolate only in one spot. I'm going to go rinse my sponges out. I'll be right back.
Wait, I have a question. For the
Yes.
rocks on the right, what color did you use for those?
This over here,
Hmm?
I grade these down more of the colors I use from here. So it was cobalt and the burnt sienna over here.
Okay.
And over here, I just took the same color and lightened it up a little bit more with water. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Aren't they beautiful?
Warm enough in here?
Oh, I'm fine.
Want the cedar on it?
Fine.
Okay, I'm back.
You lifted out some tree trunks?
Yeah, right
the
up in
right?
here.
Okay.
There's 3 of them in here. This one is
Okay.
barely noticeable. Then you notice these 2. I did that to break the area up. Nothing more
Okay.
than
Okay.
So you don't want them screaming over there. You want them, sleeping. In other words, don't bring any real attention to them. Allow them off to the side just to be quiet and sulk.
Pouty.
Yeah, the pouty trees.
Well, this is new for me because I'm not used to making rocks, so.
Well, good time to start, huh?
Yep,
All right. You got them two defined.
okay,
Spray them with water, lift them up.
okay.
You can see all of these here are, I'm going to bring it closer to the camera if you can see that. They're all just kind of dotted in.
Oh, I see, yeah,
They're not too individual by themselves at this point.
okay,
And most of them will not be individual.
right.
We're going to make them part of a family, not
Oh.
individuals.
Okay, so here is where I am. I think these are way too dark. I'm gonna have to.
Yeah. And it looks like you got them lined up, connected, and I've allowed them to be more separate looking.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that at this point.
Well, to just change the value a little bit.
Oh, okay. Okay. And then the others are, I mean, it's okay as far as it goes. Is that correct?
So far, so good. You could bring out, this is an angled rock here, and I remember I spattered this back here with
Okay,
a little bit of the toothbrush with the burnt
Okay.
sienna and the cobalt.
Okay, I can do that. Thank you.
Question, Janet? You got a big question mark on your face.
I know.
Is this any better?
You still need to soften them up.
Okay. They just don't want to soften.
Beat them up. In fact, you could take just a wet paper towel and kind of go over them softly until they blend more together at this point.
Okay.
Good morning, Starshine.
Good morning. Good morning, sunshine. That's your new name, Judy.
Starshine.
Starshine. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Right. Okay, I'm going back on mute.
Oh gosh. All right. I need
Now we know. Now we know.
I need feedback.
That was so cute.
I thought it was too.
Yeah.
Okay, Janet, you want to bring a couple of rocks up the hill a little bit here. So this has a little bit of an angle on it. You've got them quite straight. Other than that, not too bad.
Okay.
All right. Light
Yeah.
rocks, not dark rocks.
Right.
Soft rocks, not hard rocks, like the cafe
Right.
or casino.
Our restaurant.
All right, here's mine, dear.
Yes.
I don't know.
All right. That's good. You haven't committed yourself to the rocks, which is what I was looking for.
Oh,
Very good.
do not commit to the rocks.
You're not committed to the rocks yet. If only a few when we get there, Deborah.
And it's a good thing, Deborah.
My first rock painting, I figured out a way to make them look like rocks, and I did them all the same. So I had to do the whole painting over again. I did a cookie cutter, as my wife says. They're all the same color, all the same shape. all the same texture, and I'm going, well, they look nice if you cut them out individually, but you can't do them all the same. You're fine. You got to kind of sneak up on these things.
Yeah. Is this any better?
That's getting better. We'll leave it alone at this time.
Okay. Well, that's my first rock painting.
All right.
Other than the one that looked like a hot potato.
You've broken up a little more. It looks like
Yeah,
it takes.
that's better. We'll break it up a little bit more as we go along.
Okay, and I forced the angle on this thing. I mean,
That's
it was.
better. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Diane, we did a waterfall with a lot of rocks, a 2-day that Judy had given me. We decided that we are going to do it for 2 days.
Uh-huh.
And it was almost nothing but rocks and a small waterfall.
Oh gosh, yes.
Uh,
Let's see if
I
I
was
can.
gonna cry.
It was really. It was really hard.
I
I'll see if
love
can
that
find
picture
it.
though. I'd love to do that again.
Yeah, that was the one I tried to paint again because my rocks were so bad. So the second time it was a little bit better.
Well,
Ah.
every time you do it, you're experienced in it. So
right. I love that quote you had on your last thing, Dale, about every time you do something again, it's based on your past experience.
Yeah,
You're no longer
you're
an
working.
amateur.
You're no longer the amateur. You're working from experience.
Right, right.
Okay, Deborah, you're looking at me
Oh.
like you want to show me something.
No, I showed
okay.
you. I'm just waiting
All right.
for the next rock formation.
Let's see how it looks in the camera now. They're a little more
right.
up now.
That's better, Janet. They don't have to be the same shape as mine, but you got a variety in there. That's good. Okay. Can I start up again?
Mhm.
All right. Let me take a picture of this. And we'll start up again.
Sunset breathing.
Great. I'll take it over again. All right, we're going to go back to the background along the edges here, this back here, and we're going to come down the river and establish some darker, more prominent values. So again, I'm going to be working towards the bottom. This is a little bit too blue, but that was my intention on the first and second wash. We're going to tone that down now. And I'm going to be adding a little bit more green to that. The touch of the cobalt. So we got a little bit more blue-green than blue. And I'm going to be putting in and trying to cover up that blue just a little bit. And then I'm putting in some rocks back in here very briefly. And this is toning down, and I'm giving this a little feeling of trees down in here a little bit more. Not a lot, but just a little bit more. But that took this, pushed it back now because that blue was too intense and it was coming out. So I'm just adding very, very lightly a lot of water in with the pigment. And I'm going to add a little bit of ultramarine blue to it. And I'm going to do that down towards the bottom so it gets a little bit darker. And all I'm doing is, while this is wet, I'm doing vertical brush strokes just to kind of blend the bottom in a little bit. Now I'm going to go back in these trees here, and I'm going to make them a little bit more structured looking. So I'm going to start off over here. In fact, I'm going to tip the board up just a little bit for me so I can see it.
You're just using the same color?
I'm using the same color but darker. And as I get down towards the bottom, I'm going to go quite dark with the same colors, less water, and a little bit of the burnt sienna, just to slightly gray it. I'm going to come in over here too. Because all the form of the pine trees is really showing in this area here, where these here are kind of stacked against each other more. And this will draw your eye back to this point and not over here. And I can then modify the bottom here a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit more green to that now. Take your time painting in the tops. Showing some of these boughs of branches here coming out a little bit more. Then I'm going to take a little bit more ultramarine blue here. Again, not a whole lot of water. I'm going to put the stem in here. Then I'm going to bring it right down to the ground here a little bit. Then I'm going to take some raw sienna and I'm going to warm up this tree out here. And that yellow that I'm putting in with the green will separate just enough from what I just did. And I'm going to start by making this warmer tree that's going to have more light on it later on when we use the gouache. So I am closing in on some of this in here. Trying to control it here. We're a little bit soupy, but it should work out fine. Now I'm going to come across to the other side. And I want to make this a little bit more dominant. So we're darkening it up with the ultramarine blue and the sap green and a little bit of the burnt sienna. There we go. And I'm making the second one here darker than this one here, because this one I want to fall back a little bit more. So our darks are always getting lighter as they go back. Lighter, cooler, less intense. And I'm drying the brush off a fair amount of time so that I get that softer look to it. And then when I come up in here, I'm going to take a little bit more ultramarine blue with this same combination that I started off with by adding more blue to it. Tap the brush off a little bit and darken this in just a little bit more. And I'm being very scratchy about it. So I'm going to go to the larger brush here. And I'm going to darken that in just a little bit. I'm going to take a little bit of burnt sienna, and I'm going to put a little bit of burnt sienna in here and there, just to carry some of that color up into the trees, like so. And then I'm going to come down the river. Now, what you have to look at coming down the river is the pattern first of value, and then the shape of it. So we have the river, this comes across like this, back and forth. So I'm going to start very carefully, and it's kind of a soft green, and I'm drying the brush off quite a bit because I do not want too much of a dark hitting here, but I'm going to run it right up into the rocks so that they kind of connect with the river. But I am leaving a little bit of white here and there, or light, not white. There's no white paper left here. And as we come over here, we're getting a little bit darker. And I'm being very careful to keep these almost horizontal. They're not on the diagonal movement at all. Then I'm going to bring it down here. So this is the first phase of putting in some of these values in the river. Now I'm going to go a little bit darker as I come down, a little bit more green and a little bit of the burnt sienna to slightly gray it. And we have this come across here very quickly. So I dry brushed it, allowing some of that blue to show through. I'm going to take a little bit of the raw sienna here, and I'm going to put that right in here. And it is quite grayed down until I get to right about here. It's a little bit more intense. Oh, she sees it there. So we're starting to get more value in here. Now I'm going to go darker. So I'm grabbing the ultramarine blue and the sap green. And I want to take this over here, a little bit more water, same color, and I want to blend it into what I just put down, that raw sienna there. Then I'm going to go to a little bit darker as I come across. And I'm going to add a little bit of cobalt blue to it as I come all the way across. And then take it and soften it up. And this is, again, just the second pass in the river that we're doing. I'm going to take a little bit of the blue. I'm going to put it in here. And then I'm going to take this very dark blue-green here that has a little bit of burnt sienna in it. And I'm going to bring that through here. Like so. And it's going to come down. So you have to be a little bit more aggressive at this point. I'm not worried about all those little trickle lights that are in there. That can be done to the painting as we move through it with the gouache. Now I'm going to tip it up just for a moment, a little bit more. And I'm going to take the toothbrush with just a little bit of water on it. And I'm going to spritz water so that this stuff starts moving a little bit more. And I add a little bit of color here, especially over in this corner. Then I'll take the brush here. Bring it all the way down. We've got a little bit of movement with the trees, the pine trees from up there that we're seeing. This is bringing the painting together a little bit quicker. Put pure cobalt in here. And then I have kind of a little bit of movement here of that rippling. Then I'm going to take a little bit of the burnt sienna with a little bit of the green. And I'm going to put it right in here. Comes right off of that rock. Comes down. And kind of trickles over here a little bit, and then you're going to stop. Now, this is probably the most difficult part of the painting to get more right. But I made sure that this was dark enough with the ultramarine blue and the sap green, but up here stay very light, so this lays down. There's usually about a 10% change in value going back. So try not to make it dark back here at all. And then start using a little bit more color in the middle and then a lot of dark right in this area here. And then we'll sweep that across later on. But that's what you want to do. But I defined these trees back here a little bit more. The next time around, I'm going to define the rocks a little bit more and some of the banks. And then we'll go back into the river. Then we'll start using the gouache. But you can see on how that modified the whole painting. It's bringing it closer to a finished look. This is the one, Diane, that we did.
Oh, wow.
And then I did a rough of it beforehand.
Uh-huh.
But we did a lot of rocks. And
Okay.
I'm still having problem with this area here. I don't like them looking all round,
Uh-huh.
even though they were. I wanted a little bit more variety in them. but that was a lot of rocks that they did.
I'll say.
And that was all Judy's fault. Or Miss Starlight here. I think she's blushing.
It's just Starlight too.
I know, that's just a Starlight.
Right.
But you could see that I did leave some of the original wash showing through here, a little bit right there, and down here, just to show the ripples in the water. Because I don't expect you to get crazy with the ripples that you see in the photograph. I'd rather have you have suggestions of it and not copy it. I gotta go rinse my sponges again. Okay, now I'm back.
Here's mine so far.
Oh, that's coming out nice.
Okay, it
You
keeps,
can, you can bring a little bit more of a wash through here with the cobalt
okay,
and a little bit lighter value of this by far through here. But that's coming out nice.
okay, say that again. So cobalt here, and
A
then
little bit of
what
the
you,
cobalt with the green here, and then
sure,
a light wash through here. Just so that
okay.
what I'm seeing here is I see a light ridge come right around through here.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing
You got
too.
to get rid of that.
Okay.
This is what I've got so far.
All right. You still need to bring this across a little bit more in here with the
Oh,
cobalt.
okay. Okay, I see that. Yeah. It's sometimes it's easier to see it on the monitor.
Yeah, it is. I agree. talking during class.
I'm not sure. Oh boy.
All right, that's not bad at all. The only thing that I'm seeing here is you have the same thing. You have a light ring that or a passage that comes through here. If you
Okay. Yeah.
kind of bring this across to block it off. The rest of it looks pretty darn good. For not being
Okay.
sure of yourself, Deborah, you're doing fine.
Yeah. So here's what mine looks like now.
All right, that's better.
Yeah. Yeah. I keep having trouble with controlling the amount of liquid. I mean, I want it to run. I
Yeah,
want it to look liquid.
that comes
I
with,
keep getting it so wet that I lose the color. In other words, I'm
yeah,
thinning out my pigment too
that
much.
comes with more experience on, you put it down, you take a look at it, see how it dries. You could take a color on a scrap piece of paper and
Uh-huh.
mix up whatever color you want, doesn't make any difference, and put it down, and then take a little bit more water and add it to that same color, put another swatch of color down next to it, and
Yeah.
see how that dries, and then continue doing that to where you get almost just a very little bit of color, and you'll see what the changes. They call that going from butter to tea
Yeah.
texture. It was coined by a artist that's very, very good, but it comes with experience. Watching it dry, how light does it dry? It teaches you to anticipate what's going to happen when it dries. It gives you better anticipation on that.
Okay. Yeah.
There's
Well,
times there's times I'll put something down and it's too light, and I'll have
uh-huh.
to darken it up because it dries lighter. But you learn that with more experience. It's one of the
Yeah.
things that I cannot teach you physically. You have to do it.
Yeah. What
Always
what about the
try.
conflict between having it wet enough to run,
Yeah,
but
and
not so wet that you dilute your color?
right, exactly.
I mean, that's the problem I'm struggling with.
Yeah,
We
and
we
you'll
want that run, right?
struggle with that for a while.
Okay.
It's
Well,
nothing unusual.
sooner or later this will dry and then I'll put more color on.
Yes, long as you don't overhandle it, you'll be fine. People say you should only have 3 handlings of watercolor.
Oh,
And it's like, well, that's not always true.
okay.
There's nothing there's nothing 100% true, nothing 100% constant, especially in watercolor.
Okay.
Where when oil painting or acrylic, you put it down, it's pretty much that's what you get.
Yeah.
It doesn't shift too much on you.
Well, I like the shifting. So, I mean, I like the
Yeah,
sense of
that's
movement and
that's
everything
the
you
one
get.
thing I like about watercolor is that it continues to move and change until it dries.
Okay.
And it makes you
Good.
think of what's going to happen next. And you
Yeah.
can always go darker. It's more difficult to go lighter, but you can go lighter, but it's not as forgiving as other mediums are. And
Thank
it's more
you.
challenging, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like I just need to do more paintings, more waters.
But when
Yeah.
you do it right, the sparklers go off and you go, all right, I got it. But, it's something that I'll never understand on how people who write music hear that in their head,
Oh, yeah.
that, and then adding things to it, other instruments and so forth, and make it hold together, balance off. And you're going, how do they do that? It's experience. They hear things in your head. I see things in my head.
Right.
Yeah.
And, and I, and I,
Yeah, we thought you see things, Dale. Now we
I
know.
know. As in the movie, The Little Kid, I see dead people.
Oh, right. Oh,
But it comes with experience.
yeah.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
it is, I think, one of the aggravating parts of watercolor is how light is that going to dry? How dark is that going to dry? It's one of the two things that I can't teach you. What to anticipate.
Right. Well, this is where I am now.
Oh, that's nice.
Thank you.
That's nice. Your river narrowed down back there, but I don't have any qualms about it, except, Diana, it has to be toned down a little bit. It's when you trap that light between two darks,
Uh-huh.
it's going to boom, illuminate out. You need to
Okay.
tone that down so it falls back.
Okay.
That's the only thing that
Oh, I
I-
see.
I will
Yeah, yeah.
suggest at this time.
Yeah, I see that. Thank you.
They call them, sometimes they'll call them sky holes.
Ah.
When you're seeing light traveling through the trees, the branches and so forth, those are sky holes.
Uh-huh.
They have to be darker than what you see out in a clear area, so
Oh,
that they tone down. Otherwise, it looks like it's illuminated lights coming through,
yeah.
and it will
From
attract
above.
the eye in the wrong way.
Yeah.
But all of you are doing quite well with this. This is not an easy painting. There's a lot of different parts and pieces to it, but you're getting there. And everybody's got a little bit different version, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I always look at it within its own frame of reference, not what I'm doing, not what somebody else is doing, and not with the photograph.
I'm going to show you again. I think I got rid of the ring. I'm thinking, did I?
Yes, you did. Yeah,
Okay.
You broke it up. That's what you wanted.
All right.
You could go, while we're waiting, Deborah, you could go a little bit more intense on the shoreline color over here
With the
with the raw sienna, the burnt
raw
sienna,
sienna.
but not
Okay.
as intense as what I've got it right here. I'm going to tone that down because right now my eye is going right there all the time, every time I look at it. So I'm going to be very careful with dividing that up and toning it down in this next phase.
Okay.
But you need to make it a little bit more intense than what it is. On my rough that I did, you could see on how that's not as intense as that is. It looks like it in the monitor, but it's not. This is quite reduced in its intensity. That's why I really dislike explaining things off a monitor sometimes, because you're not always seeing what actually is there. Even with photography, if you go out there and you, as you know, painting in person, you're going to see something totally different than what you see in a photograph.
Yes.
So photographs are not real when you come down to it. They're a facsimile of size, shape, color, shadows, and so forth, but you are making those adjustments in person.
Yes, and sometimes I have some photographs that I've tried to paint, and I think I should have just left it as a photograph because I couldn't do it justice. Sometimes you just can't
Yeah, I understand that.
replicate.
Well, the lens warps it, the lighting.
The cameras have gotten better, especially with the iPhone. But as Marilee said, the lens will always warp it a bit too. There's photographers that will make adjustments to what they remember from and they write down notes. And some of these photographers, most photographers I know, especially up here in the North Woods, will sit there for hours waiting for the right light, waiting for the right whatever they're waiting for.
The animals.
The animals coming through. There was a place up here not too far from us that has a pack of albino deer.
Oh, wow.
Does and bucks. There's I think about 8 to 10 of them. And he was told to go out there and look for them. He was out there for 2 weeks, didn't see them. On the last day, he was almost ready to pack up, and here they come out of the woods. And he just took tons of pictures of these things, as many as he could get. But he waited out there for 2 weeks.
Oh,
And luckily it wasn't snowing.
yeah.
Otherwise they would have disappeared. How we doing, Janet?
I am bringing the water down now. So I gotta do the dark water.
All right,
You want me to do the dark water? Here, I'll stop.
let's see what you got. It's coming along nice. Do the dark water. Then we'll start.
Or if you want, you can start and I'll do it after.
No, you want to do it now.
Okay.
Take your time, just hurry up. It's my father-in-law's favorite saying. I remember he said that to a county clerk at the courthouse down in Indiana, and boy, did she give him a look.
I bet.
Usually those people are not too happy that work down there.
Right.
It's a boring job, to be truthful.
Oh, I'm sure.
We went to Social Security last week in the county south of us. It's the closest office. And the guy was so nice back there. He figured everything out because we had a transfer delivery of my Social Security from a bank in Indiana to a bank up here. And Marilee did it to hers 2 years ago, but they changed the process between then, and we couldn't figure it out.
They got hacked, that's why.
Well, they got hacked, is what happened.
Oh,
So
wow.
they changed the whole system, and this guy went flying through it and did it in a very short time, where she's been on the internet for 4 or 5 hours sometimes,
Oh,
pulling her
gee.
hair out. I always make her wear a hat when she does that.
A swim cap, one of those old fashioned ones from the 60s.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Oh,
You could do one of those caps like they used to do when you color hair and you put it on and then you pull strands through.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
The frosting before they did
Yeah,
the
frosting the hair or whatever they were
Right,
doing.
right.
before they did aluminum foil. Now they do aluminum foil and brushing.
Yeah, it's those systems are quite funny. But he figured it out. Well, he knows what he's doing. That's the whole thing.
Sure.
If you do it all the time, it's lickety split.
But I mean, talk to him, nice guy, good sense of humor. And we waited an hour and a half to be taken because there's only one clerk back there.
Oh, wow.
Well, they're closing one social security office after another, and they're going to be going
Yeah,
AI.
they started, the 7th.
I call it artificial imbecile.
Yeah, it's certainly not intelligence.
No, it's not. I hate this phrase, but it's not user friendly.
It's not human friendly.
No, not at all. I'm going to put this down, take a picture of it, and Janet will be showing hers shortly.
So next session, are we doing another 2-week painting?
Yes, we will at the end. The first one is going to be dealing with water, and everything is very soft. It's
Okay.
kind of misty. It has a little bit of snow on the banks. I painted it once, probably, geez, I bet you 20 years ago. And it's,
But that one's not 2 weeks.
but that one, I mean, it was a demonstration I was doing for my father-in-law in my studio to show him.
Oh.
He wanted to see what he was doing. He'd come over for Sunday coffee. And while I was talking with him and painting, I had finished this. It was a small painting. It wasn't a big one. And I ended up framing it, taking it to the Indiana Heritage Arts Contest, and I sold it within the first hour.
Oh my goodness.
And in fact, I sold 2 of the 3 paintings that got in, which I was very happy with.
Nice.
But that one's not gonna be a 2.
No, that one won't be a 2-week.
Right.
I'll find something much more complicated for you. Well, I like to have you do something that is above where you're at, just so that you're experiencing something else
Uh-huh.
or a different type of subject matter or whatever. But I am still looking for the 2-weeker. I will get a structure in there of some sort this next time around. Okay,
All
Jan.
right, that didn't work out real well, but I'll have to let it dry and then clean off my palette and stuff because I didn't get cobalt.
Okay. You can need another swatch across here of this
Yeah.
color lighter than the cobalt.
I know.
That's it.
Wait.
It's 2 sweeps of the brush. Very simple. Take you 2 seconds.
Oh, it's
But
2
I'm
sweeps
gonna-
of
but I'm
what
gonna go-
later?
I'm going to go ahead now, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. So again, I'm going to start off in the background, come forward, do a bunch of little stuff. Not a whole lot. I'm going to have the toothbrush ready for a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm going to take, I want to make a little bit of a tree off the side here. It's not in the photograph, I don't believe. No, it's not. It's going to be a little bit warmer and contrasting with the background of the coolness. So I took the sap green, the burnt sienna, mixed it together, and I got kind of a green putty color here. And I'm going to bring that tree out and angle it back into the shoreline here. And it's going to be sparse. Nothing that is too noticeable. Like so. And I'm going to bring in a little bit of, these are all going to become kind of accents of color, but I got some cobalt blue here. And I'm going to put that right in here going to tone down these lights. And I'm going to take the pure cobalt and I'm going to accentuate a few different things along here that have these lights coming out. Whoop. Going to tone this down in here. There's too many lights coming through this here. I'm going to reintroduce a little bit of movement here. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the burnt sienna. These are all small things I'm doing at this time. And you have to decide how much you're going to put in and where according to your painting in some cases. So I'm going to give this a little bit more color in here, slightly grayed down. It's not going to be as bright as anything on the bank across the river. Then I'm going to take that pigment, I'm going to kind of smoosh it around, technical term. So I'm just kind of toning this down just a little bit. Up against the rock right here. And then, bless you, over there. Then I'm going to take some and I'm going to add some of that pigment up in here. And I'm going to take a damp brush and soften it out just so that it wasn't all the same. Let it sit there a short time. And I'm going to kind of just tap it up a little bit. Because I know what it was going to dry to. It was going to be too intense and too dark. Okay, now I'm also going to take my 1-inch brush here and I'm going to put in a couple of light saplings that run through here. Nothing too prominent. And it's dragging that the warm color up from here, up through here, so that sapling is looking warmer in temperature. So I'll hold that up so you can see it closer. When I pulled up from here and pulling out from here, it comes out warmer. I don't know if you can see that or not. But it's a nice way to add something in one brush stroke and you don't have to worry about it. Now, over on the other side, I'm going to take the ultramarine blue and the sap green with a little bit of the burnt sienna. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to model the very bottom part of these trees here a little bit more, like so, just so that it doesn't have too much of a straightness to it. So I'm always looking at variety in whatever I'm doing, a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit of variety, so that you can attract the eye softly, but not with a huge impact. Now I'm going to take a little bit of the burnt sienna here with the raw sienna, mix it up with a lot of water, and I am going to a little bit more burnt sienna. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add in very softly the difference between that light grass here that looks like it's green in the photograph so the yellow will come out a little bit more along the bank. It defines it in a softer way. A little bit more burnt sienna in some areas, and I'm making sure that this kind of rambles a little bit so it's not straight. The only thing that's really straight in nature 100% of the time is water. You'll always see it being kind of on the level side. And the other thing is once in a while you'll find trees that are very straight, but not that often. Even they grow in straight increments. I'm going to add a little bit of texture back in here. Like so, I'm going to add a little bit of that texture over here. Now I'm going to take a little bit of the gouache here, and I'm going to add it to this here with a little bit more green in it, a little bit more white. And I am going to tip, with a dry brush effect, tip some of these trees that are back here with some of this lighter green here. And it's nothing more than the pines picking up a little bit of light. And it will also give a different illusion of the background. I'm also going to add in a small pine tree right here. And you can see right now I'm closing in that gap that was quite wide at the beginning. So I'm adding a little bit more, drying the brush off here, adding a little bit more white to that. Okay. And it has a little bit of a yellowing effect between the sap green and the raw sienna. And I'm going to add a little bit into the woods up in here. So it's just another tree on the bank. Lots of times in the fall, you'll see the tamaracks up here turn this color, and then they drop their needles. Now I'm going to take that same color and add it along the bank here just a little bit, and that will give us the illusion of some of that green. Just a little bit. We don't need a lot of it. Going to add a little bit more white to it. And I'm going to run it along the river here, or in the river as part of the reflection. Needs a little bit more white. And now I'm looking around the painting to make sure that I'm balancing off the color. Then I'm going to bring it right through here like so. And then I'm going to use a lot of white with that same color. And I'm going to create that illusion of these light passages where the water is catching the light a little bit more. And I'm going to take that with a little bit of cobalt now and a fair amount of water so it becomes milky or translucent. And I'm going to add that in on top of the water here just to pick up the little bit of the highlights. A little bit over here very quickly with a dry brush, or as dry as you can get it. And then I'm going to take the burnt sienna with the raw sienna, making sure you guys have enough time to work here. Because the last thing I'm going to do is the rocks. But I'm going to add a little bit of texture right up in here. Will you keep your daughter quiet?
I can't help it when all these deer come around.
I know. She's very excitable.
It's that from your side of the family.
I know. My brothers used to bark at squirrels too. Let's put the toothbrush down. And I'm going to go into the rocks at this point. So I'm going to take this color here, this greenish color we have, and I'm going to add some light. I'll add the light first.
Puppy. You're gonna go in the bedroom.
And I'm adding light across the river. And on some of the rocks out here, I'm going to add the darks last. And the darks will make the rock come out a little bit more, you'll see. But these are all minor little things that are happening at this point. So I'm taking the milky consistency of the raw sienna and the white and adding a little bit of that sand beach that we're seeing here. And I'm going to take a little bit more of that with this little bit of green here. And I'm going to add a little bit of lightness over here on the shore. A little bit back there. I am going to bring out a little bit of light into some of these trees here and tap it off. I don't want too much light coming back there, but I will take the rigger brush I have and I'm going to, now when you use this translucently, it will get darker faster. And if it's not getting darker faster, lighten it up with your finger. It has a tendency of fading quicker. All right, now I'm going to go into the darks of the rocks and see how much we actually need. So have your paper towel ready. All right, I'm going to take the little bit of mixture here of that brownish color. And I'm going to kind of tease them in a little bit. And I'm not painting large areas of the rocks at this point. I'm painting just the shadow on the rock. It's not the whole rock. And I will paint some in between parts. But if I get carried away with the rocks, it's going to look not natural. This has a little bit of a darkness through here. Now I'm going to cross the river, and I'm going to take a little bit of that ultramarine blue, and I'm going to add it to this brownish color that has a little bit of green in it. And I'm going to start off here, out on the river. The rocks over here will be a little bit more darker in appearance. And I'm not going to do a whole lot to them because it will get too mechanical looking. So we're going to have value against value from one rock to the other to create a little bit stronger edge in some cases. Fill in between with some smaller rocks, because the more you do, the more it's going to stick out. And you don't want every rock to stick out equally. It's a matter of suggesting shape in some point, or adding shape in others, or doing absolutely nothing and building up around it. And this is where you could noodle around for hours in the rocks, and you don't want to do that. Now I'm going to take a little bit of the burnt sienna here and add it to that milky substance, and add a little bit more color to pull these colors down into here a little bit so it doesn't separate too much. But I will pull in a little bit more blue in some cases too. Like I say, I'm not going to over define the rocks here. I'm just going to suggest, because them being in the foreground, they could very easily overtake the painting. So I'm adding in some light value with the gouache and adding a lot of water to it. So it's very, very milky looking. And I'll add a few of these lights over here too. A lot of little things, nothing major. And I'm going to take that same color that I'm using on the rocks, and I want to denote a little bit more of that light in the water here. It's kind of a grayish blue. But I don't want to get carried away with that either. So now I'm going to take and find the happy medium to go between the rocks, which is a grayed down raw sienna. And I'm going to add a little bit in between the rocks here. Not a whole lot. This will be more covered here. It goes up into there. It will pull down the color from up above. And I'll put some of that color into the rocks. If I overdo it, I'm going to be in trouble. That I do know. But I do want this tree back here to come out a little bit more. So I'm warming it up and adding a little bit more wash to it. It's going to look like it is on its last leg, but that's fine. You see this along riverbanks quite often, where you see dying pines or trees because they've gotten too much water. Then I'm going to add a little bit of green to it and add some more green up in here. A little bit over here. And then I'm going to take this darker green here and I'm going to bring it in here right across like so. And it kind of tapers off. It does reach all the way across the river and it comes down the river like so up here. And then a little bit of light reflection here. And a little bit here, especially going around these rocks. So I'm adding just a touch of light. It's very white, but it's still got a little bit of color in it. Where'd it go? I'm adding a little bit of that same light on top of some of the rocks. Now I can define the rocks more, but I'm not going to do that. It'd just be too much. A lot of time and work. So I'm going to take the tape off. This gives you time to 15 minutes to kind of follow up with what I've just done and ask questions. But you can see where we ended up. When you take off the tape, it shows a better version of it. So that's why we're doing water the first week of this next session, because it kind of continues with this type of feeling. And that you've already done water, it will just kind of continue, and then we'll go into other things through the 5 weeks. But that's where we ended up. Like I say, there could be more darks within the rocks, but I'm hesitant on overdoing it.
Hey, Dale, I want to redo my green reflections at this time. Is that okay?
Being add
All
to
of
what you have.
Well, it's so spotty and streaky
Well,
and everything.
you can still add more on there. There is one thing off on the shore over here that
Yeah.
needs to be toned down in the water.
Yeah, I do see that.
Popping
Yeah.
up too much. But
Yeah.
you can add to what you have. There's nothing there that is wrong. You just need to continue.
Okay, so I
This can come
want
across.
okay, come across with a
lighter value of that.
Okay.
Come across and then come down. Uh, you can play with these things for quite a while, and you will end up ruining it. I will tell you. It's something that I've done from experience. I could play more with the rocks,
Yeah.
which I might do later on, but I don't want to take your time doing it. You have the essence of what to do. These rocks over here are fine because they're falling back. These
Okay.
these can be worked on a little bit more, but I don't want to take your time from messing around with that. It's not
Yeah.
super
So
important.
so get connect things more
Yeah,
here.
connect it right up in here.
And then
This area right here.
and it's all right if I restreak this, right? I
Yes,
want
it
to
is.
get that
Oh, sure.
intensity in there. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Do you want me to put a guy in with a canoe way back there?
Put a what?
A guy in a canoe way back there?
Oh,
Well, you can.
oh my.
I've got a couple photos of people in canoes, and I've done a few fly fishermen over the years, which is always interesting. But I would still probably give this a little bit more work back in here in this area and a little bit more in the rocks, but it's nothing major at that point. But everything from this point on, if you're doing any more work, is all minor detail from the mid-ground up. And it not all the way to the front though, because you want them focused in this area back there. In fact, I could have really, I'm going to cover this up just for a minute. Done just this section of the painting, like right in here,
Oh, yeah.
and came up with a vertical conclusion to it. So it depends on how much you want to do of it. How do you want it to look? What kind of story you want to tell with the painting? But there's different versions that you can do of this. But I just thought I'd throw the whole thing at you.
That was fun. I didn't finish it. I'm gonna take a break because
Yeah.
I need one. I just took out some of the pigment in the water.
Oh, that's coming out nice, Janet. That's very nice. I even like as much light as what you have in here. It just gives a different version of what's there. You can tone it down a slight bit with some of the cobalt blue and a little bit of the light green, but I think you're fine. Don't overdo it. It's coming along nice.
Cool. Well, it was fun. I love doing these.
Looks good.
Thank you. All right. Hope to see you all next week.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
This is where I'm at right now.
You know, Diane, that's coming along really nice.
Oh, thanks.
You could be a little bit darker over here in the corner. So
Yeah,
your
yeah.
eyes not attracted there. But,
Right.
you know, from where you came in, how many weeks ago doing things to now, your progression is really quite strong. Really
Oh.
quite strong.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm impressed. I not too long ago, I looked at the first painting I did with you and I thought, oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah. Well, I had that too when I was in class. I'm going, oh, God, this will keep the cockroaches out of the closet, scare the hell out of them.
Right, exactly.
But that's coming along nice.
Thanks. Well, this is great. And so I'll see you next week.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you have a good weekend.
Yep, you too. Bye, Judy.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Debbie.
Bye-bye. See you next week.
Yep.
Bye. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go back over the video. But I mean it's not bad.
It's not bad at all. It's very, very nice. The only thing I want to tell you is that you want to keep this soft here. Okay, going up, it's a little bit sharp. Minimal
Okay.
detail on the rocks. I like the light area of the rocks, and see if you can connect or overlap some of them.
Okay. Mhm.
Down below there, it's really quite nice. You have and what I like about this, everybody has a different look to their painting, which is really a neat thing. But that's nice painting.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Thanks for all of this.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I
All
hope to
right.
see you again.
Yeah, I'll try to come back.
Okay, good.
All right.
All
Bye.
right. Have a good weekend.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.
Yeah, and let's see. I want to make sure I get a photo
Oh,
of your final. So before I sign off,
Okay.
Beautiful. Very nice. And where I'm at is I'm just waiting for my greens to finish.
that came out. You know, I'm impressed with everybody. It came out
Isn't-
really nice. Everybody has
Yeah,
a good consistency and follow through.
yeah, right. Well, great images, good instruction. I mean, what do you expect, Dale? It works.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, right. Okay, well, thank you so much, and I'll see you next week too.
Okay. You have a good weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.